Okay that you accept that the meeting is being recorded. Cool. So this cleanse doesn't start until next Tuesday, right? So what can you guys see right now? I'm trying to share my screen, and so I'm wondering what you can see. If you can see my cursor here that says signs you need to detox. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, awesome. Perfect. So just take a look, at those different signs. And while you look at them, unhealthy food cravings, well, who doesn't have that? Feeling a little tired and fatigued, well, who doesn't have that? Having mood swings, well, who doesn't have that? Especially when it's that time of the month, right? Maybe we're feeling achy, maybe we got joint pains, maybe we got seasonal allergies. Like the list can literally go on, right? Essentially, according to Ayurveda, which is the practice that I practice, which is basically living with nature and living within your nature, and finding that balance. But balance is always, it's not linear, right? It's always kind of very shifty and up and down. But when we do live within the balance of ourselves, then it would be rare that we actually feel these symptoms. So if we're starting to feel any of these symptoms in a deeper way, then our body is getting aggravated. And so what that means is that I'll give you a little bit of an example. Okay, so in the summertime, it's the pitta time of year. It's really hot. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of movement. We're doing lots in the summer too, right? So naturally, what happens is we get into the season, and then we get the accumulation of the season where it's getting to be too much hot and too much on our body. So then what happens is that season from summer shifts into the fall, and the heat starts to deplete, right? The heat goes away, the fall starts to become a little bit cooler. So we get that accumulation of all of that hot from the summer starts to get alleviated because of the fall starts to come around. And then when the fall comes around and the winter comes around, and through the winter it's really cold and it's really 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 dry, well, then the accumulation of that cold and of that dry happens, and we can start to get aggravated. But then spring comes back along, so it starts to get warmer again. This season starts to shift a little bit. So we always have this sort of phase of accumulation, and then we get the aggravation, but then we get the alleviation from the change of those seasons. But if you're always doing the same things all the time throughout all of the seasons, if you're always eating outside of a routine, if you're not sleeping well, if you're always under constant stress, if you're always ingesting foods that aren't right for you, then what happens is you get that accumulation, you get the aggravation, and then it continues to be aggravated, and then it starts to spread. So then that I'm going through some of the stages of disease. So we get the spreading, and we might notice the spreading of that aggravation in some of these symptoms. So these symptoms would be indications that the aggravation has gone beyond, and it can start to move into a disease process. It can start to move into the pathologies of your disease. But meaning, okay, we've had all of this aggravation, we've had all of this accumulation, and we get seasonal allergies. And now the seasonal allergies are worse and worse, and now our face starts to pop up, or maybe we have this dampening on our immune system, and then all of a sudden, we have lupus or some type of immune disease because we've let this aggravation start to spread. We have never gotten the alleviation. So we do a cleanse in big seasons, is a really great time to do a cleanse, so that we get the alleviation, so that we help to remove these symptoms that are creating all of this aggravation within us. So it's time, right? So if you've done a cleanse with me before, then that's awesome. Then you kind of know the drill. They're all set up the same way because, and there's going to be many shifts through different seasons. In the summer, in the spring one, there's differences because we're moving into spring. In the fall, there's going to be differences after, especially in that rebuilding phase, phase 3, because we're moving into the winter, right? So we wouldn't eat the same things in the spring as what we do in the winter. So you'll notice that there's always that same type of structure because that's what helps us to remove all of that aggravation. So just take a look at that list and notice if you're feeling any of those things. Maybe you're feeling all of them. Maybe you're feeling things that aren't even on the list, right? And we all are. And that's okay. Even me. Nobody's perfect and it's all good. We all get aggravated and we all can have that spread and that's okay. But now what we're here to do is we're here to just take 21 days. That's all. I can't even do the math. Greg is here. He can probably do the math, but 21 days out of 365 days is what? That's barely anything, right? That's like probably less than 10% of your whole year. You know, it's really not much. In the moment, it's going to feel like a lot. It's going to feel tough. It's going to feel aggravating. It's going to feel emotional. But cleaning out the junk that's in your body, that's in your energy, that's in your mind space is hard. So how can we go through a cleanse and it be super easy, right? It can't. It's not. If you take your kitchen floor and you see all the dirt on your kitchen floor and you get down on your hands and knees and you scrub that kitchen floor, are you sweating by the end? Have you worked hard? Likely, very likely, because cleaning out, removing, getting rid of is not easy. So all of that being said, what I'd like to know from you guys, and I know a couple of people are just popping in. I saw Sylvie pop in and it's all good, is I'm just going to stop screen share just for a second, is maybe we can all just share if we like. You don't have to turn your camera on, but what are a couple of symptoms that you're feeling right now? And how are you ready to do this? Maybe how are you ready, but you know, are you ready? Anything that you'd like to share. So it would just be nice. It's just always nice to kind of know that, you know, we are all on the same page. So who would like to share first? Who would like to say a couple of symptoms that are bothering them and why they're doing the cleanse or how they plan to do it? Anything you'd like to share. Do you see people trying to get in? Yes, I did, Greg, and I let them in. And so Greg says it's less than 6% of the year, 21 days. That's nothing, right? It's like holding a plank for 10 seconds out of a minute. That's nothing. You can do it. So unmute and share. I'm going to turn off my music. We're listening. Greg, you want to share first then? Start off. Anybody? Would anyone like to share? No. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully.
Okay. Well, I'll start.
Awesome, Michelle. Hello.
So, like me, like after having 2 kids, like it kind of like having 2 kids, like it's kind of draining me. But my symptoms is like I have body ache and like tiredness, and then I just feel like foggy. I just don't have energy.
Okay.
So that's why like before I got pregnant with my first son, I was really active. Like I was playing sport.
Okay.
But now I won't do the class because I won't go back to my old body. I won't have the energy that I had before.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So I want to go back.
Yeah.
The energy that you had before. And so I have a question for you. you have kids, right? You said, how old are they?
3 and 6 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, do you have like regular routines, right? Like everything gets shifted when you have kids that are especially that age and you're just doing for your kids all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely very tough. And
Oh
you'll
yeah, yes.
yeah. So you'll learn through the cleanse though that maintaining sort of those daily routines, those daily rituals, even if it's just those little bits of moments for yourself, like eating routines and all of it, those
Mhm.
are the things that can really significantly help you to have more energy, to feel better. It's how you're eating, right? And how
Yeah.
you're showing up for your day. And so thank you for for joining, and especially for doing this with some little kids at home, because that's definitely
Especially have like especially have like a toddler that's very active.
yeah,
So I can't keep up with him. So I like yeah, I need energy with for him. So
yeah, yeah, that'll be awesome. Well, they're so
so
fun.
so like I have 2 sons. So the first one is very active, like I said. So like yeah.
Yeah. Boys are fun. They're all fun anyways.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Well, thank you for sharing, Michelle. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
So Sylvie, I can share sort of what you said is that Sylvie's noticing some inflammation in the neck and shoulders and just kind of feeling blah. Stephanie is sort of feeling tired, and you're looking to have more energy. Okay, that's awesome. Lori keeps trying to get in and out. And so inflammation, that inflammation can come from many different things. But generally, the flame, that fire of it, that heat kind of can come from all of the excess heat from the summer, and then moving into the fall, and it just kind of gets blocked in there and then just sort of flames inside the body. But I mean, there can be many other reasons, but feeling blah, right? We don't want to feel blah, we want to feel better. So if anyone else would like to share, then that's awesome. And if not, it's all good, no worries. I'll share my screen again, and then I'll just get into the actual cleanse part and let you guys know what it's all going to be about. All right. So I will share my screen. Okay. So we're going to have a meeting every Wednesday, and the meeting is going to be an educational meeting. Okay. So the big things, the big qualities of the season that we're moving into that can get very imbalanced is dry. You might notice that your skin gets really dry in the winter, that your lips get really dry and cracked. You might notice that you become constipated in the winter, right? So you just might notice that big depletion in the body. And so when you do notice that big depletion in the body, then we're going to talk about how do we balance all of that excess dryness, and what does all of that dryness mean in the body. Another quality that is very in excess in the winter and to the fall, you might guess, is cold. The weather gets colder. You might notice that you have trouble staying warm. You might notice that your hands and feet often get cold, right? So cold can wreak a lot of havoc on the body when it's in excess, and especially when it's in excess for a very long time. So how can we balance all of that cold quality? So we're really going to dive into a couple of those and sort of dive into how to balance through the education portion, so through our meetings, and then of course just kind of touching base with each other and seeing how everybody's feeling. Now let's go through the cleanse. So first off, we have our Zoom meetings, which I just mentioned, but we have our Facebook group. Okay, so your Facebook group chat, that one is, you like, feel free to chat all you want. We're not a whole lot in this cleanse, so I think that that's a really great thing, because we have more chance to kind of be intimate with those questions, and maybe we might not have all those pings and dings with the Facebook group. So if you have any questions at any time, feel free to throw them in there. Okay, that might be very helpful for you, because I love going in and kind of answering questions and having some chats about that. Okay, so that's one thing to take a look at. But now we're going to look in the actual Teachable. If you have done a cleanse with myself and Greg before, then you will have seen how we laid out all of the recipes and everything in the, one second, it's taking a little bit. You would have seen how we lay out all the recipes and everything in the cleanse. Okay, so that's how we do it. We do it through Teachable. And now I'm hoping though that I'm at my internet at the studio, so hopefully it's good. Okay, good. Here we go. So fall cleanse, here we go. And then I'm going to go into it so we can see the curriculum. Now, it might look a little bit different because I'm going into it as admin, and that's okay. But when you go into it, it'll just look a little different. You won't have like these boxes here. That'll be a different. I invite you to go into the welcome video and check that out first. Go in and see all of the 5 eating principles videos, and just those are just some basic habits that you would do on a daily basis that helps out. Like simple things like sitting down, trying to eat while you're not distracted, making sure that you chew your food, slowing down. All of these are principles that are always in all of the cleanses, because even though they seem super simple and like they may not affect you, they can affect us in a very big way, in a very big digestive way. And according to Ayurveda, and Western medicine is starting to catch on to this, is that disease begins in the colon. So we want to rectify that. Disease begins in the digestive. So we want to rectify that. So Greg has his hand up and he's probably trying to tell me something about my screen share. What's up?
Click preview.
What?
Click preview.
Okay, there we go. I don't have my mouse though, so I hope it'll be okay. Okay, it's loading. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what they'll see.
Okay, now
Once they're in.
taking a while though. So we have, I'll talk as this is going. We have lifestyle practices. So you're going to see lifestyle checklist. Okay, cool. This is how you guys are going to see it, which is nice. Okay, so lifestyle checklist. So I'm just going to click on that and I'm going to show you guys. Does it pop up here though? Oh, good. There we go. Okay, so I know it might be really small for you guys to see. Sorry about that. So it's 21 days. Now you might look at this checklist and you might be like, what the heck? Look at all the stuff there. And if it's too much stuff, it's okay, because the best way to change your habits is to start small, to start simple. Everything that's on the list, you don't have to do it all. It's okay. Pick a couple of things. So for example, wake up between 6 and 7 a.m. every day, and going to bed, so sleep and lights out by 10 p.m. every night. That might be the first thing you start with. You start with your sleep schedule, and that's fine. That's all good. That's one really great thing to start with. Okay, the 3 main routines that we want to get solid, that we want to get in a nice rhythm, because it's going to be the rhythm that has to do with nature and all of that too, that really helps. Our body needs that routine. Would be our eating routine, eating the same times daily. Would be our sleeping routine, going to bed when the sun goes down, waking up when the sun comes up, and would be our elimination routine. And by our elimination routine, I mean having a poop in the morning every single day. And if you're not right now, then that's showing that there's ama in the system, that there's toxins in the system, that there's backup in the system, that there's imbalance in the system. So those are the 3 main things that we really want to get on a regular routine and get better. So let's say you do pick that. You pick, I'm just going to focus on waking up, then I'm going to focus on going to bed at 10 p.m., like being lights out in bed by 10 p.m. All good, no worries. If you want to try some of the other stuff, then you most certainly can. There's a video on each of them. So there's going to be a video on tongue scraping. Why would we do that? There's a video on that. Check it out. Neti pot, really great thing to do this time of year, especially because we're taking all of that inflammation from the summer that can create sinus issues. It can create a backup in the ears that can create all of this sort of excess mucus or phlegm or dry mucus or phlegm. So a neti pot is a really great thing that you can do as well. Body brushing and body oilation, there's a video on that. So it's going to show you and talk to you about, well, not it, me, I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of it and why they might be a nice practice for you to add. You don't have to. Remember, start small. Even if you say, okay, the first 5 days, I'm just going to add the sleeping in. And then for the next 5 days, I'm going to continue with the sleeping, but I might add a gratitude practice, or I might add a body brushing. It's all good. It's not about perfection. Having perfection in your sights is a great idea for sure, because it helps to keep you focused, but aim for better. That's all. Okay. So the eating routine is going to be a part of it too. So you'll notice eating breakfast this time of day, eating lunch this time of day, eating supper this time of day. And then, so some people might think, well, I'm not hungry at breakfast, and then I'm not really hungry at lunch. And I actually don't really feel hungry most of the day. And if you don't feel hungry most of the day, then that is an issue. That is an issue with your digestive system. Essentially, that your digestive fire is not burning. It's not burning optimally. And when it's not burning optimally, that means that your metabolism will be low. We might hear this in the Western world of my metabolism is low. I don't have a very strong metabolism, but likely it is due to your digestion. So eating those same times every day, your body's going to start to get used to it, and you're going to naturally become hungry for lunch, hungry for breakfast, hungry for supper. And that doesn't mean that it has to be this ravenous, big, huge meal for each time. It just means that your digestive system is saying, it's ready to eat. I am prepared. I am going to create all of these digestive juices so that we can process this food and we can turn this food into your skin, into your sight, into your muscles, into your nerves, into your blood, into everything. So that's what our food is doing for us. Our food is doing us. Doing us a solid. So we need to make sure that those are good routines. So again, there's videos on all of these different things, and you of course are welcome to do however many you like, but remember, simplicity is always a really great way to create that longevity. One thing down here that you will see, this is called it says take Triphala. There's a video on Triphala. You might be like, what the heck is that? I didn't add that into any of the other more recent cleanses, but this is an elimination formula. And all it is 3 separate fruits. There's a video on that. So if you'd like to order some, then you can most certainly order some from Amazon, and it's just using it as powder form. Or I can give you some and you can try some out. Of course, it's not a necessary thing. It's just an extra thing that you most certainly can try. And it might be nice to use especially if you're dealing with some constipation, or you're dealing with diarrhea, alternating diarrhea and constipation, because all of the fruits in there help to nourish the GI, help to tone the GI, help to release the GI, help to promote healthy peristalsis, which means that the smooth muscles of the intestines, they kind of have this wave-like action so that they can move the poop down and out, move the waste down and out. So there's just a lot of really great benefits to the Triphala, but it's just an option. Okay, so just added that in there. So let's go, I guess I can go back, we'll see that way. So the next section here, okay, or we'll go down. So you're gonna see the Zoom links, okay? Whoopsie daisy. So you'll see the Zoom links. I'm always gonna put that though in our Facebook group chat, okay? All of the recipes come from a site called Joyful Belly, and so there's a video on why I've chosen that site for the specific recipes. So now let's move into the phases, okay? There are 3 phases in your cleanse. The first phase, again, you'll see a video, so you can definitely check that out and learn a little bit more. But the first phase is just about solidifying that routine, and it's 7 days, okay? It's about creating that good routine, and the foods are easy. and you might feel like you're freaking hungry. But if you're used to grazing and eating all day and eating mindlessly, then you may not be as hungry as what you really think that you are. Because if you're eating and you're grazing all day, maybe it's just mindless eating. Maybe it's eating out of boredom. Maybe it's just eating on the run, and you're really never satisfying your GI, never satisfying your digestive system. So have a little bit of open-mindedness to it, have a little bit of patience with it. And so breakfast is going to be oatmeal. And the idea behind the oatmeal breakfast is that oatmeal is nourishing, it's filling, but it's demulcent, and it helps to build a good system, but it also helps to move things through the GI as well. And it's very easy to digest. So the focus for this first phase is easy to digest. Easy to digest, and adding some of those different health habits in daily can really work well together, because it helps to relieve a little bit of stress in it too. So if you've done some of my past cleanses, then you might notice that this phase might be a little scary, but then once you get into it a little bit, it's really not that bad, and it actually feels kind of nice. So the reason that we're going for soups again is because there's lots of different soups, is because definitely they're easy to digest, but we're bringing in that warm quality. All of the foods are warm. The soup is warm, so we help to liquefy that excess mucus that might be going on. We help to move and flush things out, because before we go into that second phase, which is that depletion phase, which is that actual cleanse phase, we need to make sure that all of the pipes are moving and flowing. If we are constipated and we try to cleanse, there is no point, because you're not cleansing. You're not cleansing at all. You're just kind of furthering your imbalance and backing your system up more. So that's why we take this first phase as the preparation phase. Okay, so there's lots of different recipes. You're going to see that there is also a meal plan. And of course, the meal plan, if there's a soup that you don't like on the meal plan, use a different soup. It's all good. But what I invite you to do is go into these recipes, try them. You can try a couple now. I know Thanksgiving is coming and you might want this big Thanksgiving dinner and all of that, but you can certainly take a look at the recipes and try the recipes. This one is one of my favorites, and it's very, very simple. So right when you click on the link, it's going to open you up to a new site, and this is the Joyful Belly site. And so we'll talk about, why I like the Joyful Belly site in the video, but it's education in the recipes. It's not their life story of why they decided to make this soup. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm not knocking that at all. I'm just stating that it really talks about why these types of foods and what these types of foods might do to your system. Well, we're all very unique, right? So this is easy to digest, so it increases easy quality. It's clear. So if we're having a foggy mind, then it helps to increase the clearer mind. If we're feeling dry and we're feeling kind of dry would be the better word, then it helps to liquefy you. If you're feeling very heavy, then it has that light quality that brings out that lightness within you. If you're feeling blah is a heavy emotion. Light, it helps to bring that out. If you're feeling blah, you're feeling dull. You might be feeling right? Well, it has a more pungent taste. And what that means is that's a little bit more stimulating, a little more energizing, a little more activating. So that's just a couple of little things about that. Okay, let's go back here now. Does anybody have any questions so far? I just want to make sure. I know I'm kind of talking your ear off, but feel free to come back to this video again if you're not sure. So for the second phase can be anywhere from 3 days to 5 days. I invite you to challenge yourself a little bit and try 3 days, because you can do it. Okay. And this is a mono diet. And what a mono diet means is that, yes, you're only eating one dish 3 times a day. And this is called a khichdi dish. Okay. It is a standard Ayurvedic casserole. And there's some different ones. So there's vata reducing, there's pitta reducing. But what I invite you to do is, you can choose either one of these recipes, but I'm also going to share a simple one with you too, on the in the Facebook group chat, which is same idea. All it is essentially is rice, and then you can use some red lentils. Sometimes I use actually chia seeds in mine, which is nice too. Or you can use what's called mung dal, which is it's not a split pea, but it looks like a yellow split pea. So you can use that as well. And you use some ghee and you use some spices, and then you garnish it with a little bit of lemon, and you garnish it with a little bit of parsley or cilantro or something like that, some type of bitter. Now, the reason we go with this is because it's easy to digest, okay? It's gonna feel a little bit nourishing and a little bit hearty at the same time. But the same thing, it's meant to be more of a cleansing food, a lot lighter. There's not a whole lot of ingredients in it. So if you have any type of food intolerances or any type of food allergies, this is a really great way when we cleanse to increase our sharpness, to increase our subtle, to notice what types of foods might be bothering us now. Because you might be in this state where you're eating a lot of the same things and those foods are bothering you, but you're not really sure what exactly is bothering you. It's not uncommon for us to become allergic to a food that we're eating all the time, or for us to become intolerant to a food that we're eating all the time. So when we go through this type of phase, especially if you're very diligent with it about sticking to 3 meals of khichdi a day for 3 days minimum, then as you come out of it and you come back into the phase 3, you might be aware that, oh, now when I eat sweet potato, this sweet potato makes me feel stuffed up. It makes me feel really heavy. It makes me feel tired, and I don't like that feeling right now. So you might be more hyper aware of how foods make you feel, because ultimately everything around us we have that relationship with, but we experience everything. And there's always a feeling to everything. There's always a sense, a felt sense in all of our senses. So that's what I love about phase 2 / hate about phase 2 because it is separate. So as we move to phase 3 is longer. You know, we have it from the 23rd to the 31st, you know, which is a good 9 days. And when we think about cleansing, we think about cleansing maybe in the Western sense that we do a juice cleanse and then we're done and then that's it. But when you clean something out, it's important to rebuild again. So when you clean out your closet, you don't just leave your closet empty, right? You're going to put things back in your closet the way that you want it to be in your closet. You're going to rebuild it so that it feels good, so that it feels nourished, so that when you look in your closet, you're like, ah, right? So we have to do the same thing in our body. We have to rebuild the system. We have to tonify the liver. We have to build the blood again, right? So we have to build that good blood so that our organs are healthy and so that we feel healthy. So we're going to do this though, and we can use this pre-meal, and it's called a ginger appetizer or a ginger pickle. And of course we'll share that as well, but it's basically just a couple of little slices of ginger, put it in a jar, squeeze some lemon juice on top, put a little bit of salt on top, shake it up, and then just have 1 chunk of ginger before every meal. That can be something, if you tend towards a slower digestion, hypometabolism, a constipation, you know, you're just always feeling heavy, feeling like you have this gas and bloating all the time, or this reflux, and it's just you're not digesting well. Having a ginger pickle before every meal, 10 minutes before every meal or so, might be an amazing thing for you. Because what that is doing, that is like, we have our wood in our fire pit, okay? And we have the wind around, which is great. We have the paper in the fire, which is great. But that fire is not going to burn unless we take the lighter to it and we put flame to that fire. Well, the same thing in our digestive system. If we have all of this wood and we have all of this wind and we have all of this paper in the sense, but we don't have any fire to light it, then we can't metabolize it. We can't change that food into our body, basically. So when we add this ginger pickle, what that's doing is that is the pungency. Pungent is fire, that helps to light that digestive fire. The sour of the lemon helps to create more digestive enzymes. It helps us to salivate, right? So we need that water in there too. We need that flow to get everything going. And what the salt does is the salt retains water. So the salt would draw water to the digestive system because we need that water in there to also emulsify. So it doesn't work in the fire pit example, but we need that water in there too. So a ginger pickle is a really, really cool thing to do before every meal if you like. So I probably went a little extra on a ginger pickle, but it's just wonderful. I love it. So these are some different breakfast options and some different lunch options, and then supper options are kind of mixed in with the lunch. But again, we've created a meal plan. So if you want to check out the meal plan, then you most certainly can. And if you look down, you'll see, oh my God, there's desserts in here, right? So we're moving into the winter. The winter is the nourishing time of year. We don't want to be eating a bunch of raw vegetables in the winter. We don't want to be eating salads for every meal in the winter. You know, if we have more kapha in the body, if we have more fat in the body, more accumulation in the body, then yes, adding more of those scraping action type foods are really great. But if we don't have a whole lot of symptoms, and for the most part, we're very healthy, we're just a little bit aggravated, then in the winter, we can have more of these things because our body, guess what? We're actually meant to gain a little bit of weight in the winter. So that fat is insulation, fat is nourishing, right? Fat is stable. In the winter, it's very cold. It's a time of year when we become depleted, when we kind of lose our energy, when there's too much cold, there's too much dry. So by adding more of the substance into our diet, more of the calmness into our body, into our day-to-day, it helps us to stay balanced through the winter. But then it's not about, you know, we want to find that balance still. I'm not saying it's not about, well, in the winter, well, Roxanne said you're supposed to gain like 20 or 30 pounds. It's not that, right? It's just, it's okay to have just that little bit of the belly, or it's okay to gain a few pounds in the winter, because then in the spring, everything liquefies and then you kind of lose a few pounds in the winter. So it's that gentle fluctuation, right? It's not necessarily like a bear, where a bear might gain like 100 pounds or whatever. It's not necessarily like that, but we definitely do flow with the seasons and flow like that. So it's okay to have some more of these types of things, right? But it's important that our digestion is strong, and that's through the ginger pickle, and that can be through adding more bitters and stuff. But of course, after this cleanse, if you're curious to know more about Into You and all of that, then you can most certainly do a consult with me, and we can take a really deep dive into what's going on in your system and help to find some balancing ways. So there's some drinks as well. And basically, you know, that's it. There's a ton of different lifestyle videos, our thoughts on coffee, talking about different doshas, if you're interested in that as well. I mean, that's just kind of like fun play stuff, you know, if you're interested in finding out about that. But like I had mentioned, the main things that we'd like to balance throughout the winter is feeling that excess dry and feeling that excess cold, and how can we balance all of that? So all of that being said, does anybody have any questions about it? How are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you scared? Would you like to share? Fun. Craig says fun. Cool. It's like it's the can thing out there at the studio, so they're dancing. So nobody has any questions? I'm excited to start the cleanse, but nervous. Okay, cool. That's okay, Michelle. And it's great to be excited, and it's also great to be nervous, right? Substitutes for mung beans. So Stephanie, instead of using those mung beans, you can try lentils. So red lentils are usually not too bad. Yellow lentils, but also, like I said, I use chia seeds. So instead of the mung beans like in the kitchery, you can just use chia seeds, which are really nice because they're gelatinous too, and so they kind of help with that moving, with that flushing, with that pushing action. Mind you, if there's anyone in the cleanse who deals with diverticuli and has had inflammation of diverticulitis, then chia seeds might not be advised because they can get caught in those diverticuli, those pockets in the intestines. But if you know that you can have chia seeds and they don't bother you, especially when they blow up, then that's a substitute as well, for sure. So in the Facebook group though too, like any questions about that, what can I substitute for this? What might be something good for that? I'll give you examples, right? And it's about finding the ones that suit you best and the ones that make you feel good and the ones that you like. Is that helpful, Stephanie? Okay. Hopefully it's awesome. Okay. Well, okay. I'm more pumped. Liked the 10-day cleanse, but I hope I can do the full 21 days. You can. That's the answer to that. Yeah. Because you can. Because it's only 6% of your whole year. Easy peasy. You got this. So, and remember, it's not about perfection. It's just about doing better. Okay. So clove. So if you don't want to use clove, if there's any type of like food allergy to clove, or clove bothers you, clove is more of a warming. It's a in Ayurveda we call it a dipana, so meaning that it's a digestive herb, a digestive aid. So cumin, if you like cumin, that can be a really good one. If you like fennel, that can be a good one too. So like fennel powder, fennel, cumin, those ones can be nice substitutes for clove. Clove is also a little bit hotter, so you can use cinnamon. Cinnamon can work as well. Or, I mean, there's so many different ones, but I'm just trying to think of like the easier ones for you to find too, right? Because I mean, there's so many different herbs out there, but yeah, is that helpful? Cloves instead. Okay. Is fennel easy to find locally? Yeah. So if you go over to, so if you are in Sturgeon, and there's a couple of people from the cleanse who aren't from here, but if you are in Sturgeon or anywhere for that matter, you can go to like a bulk barn, but in Sturgeon over at Nipissing Food in Bins, she has fennel. She has fennel in seed form and she has fennel in powder form. So you might have noticed that there's also a cleansing tea that you can sip on and drink, and that's called CCF tea. And that would be cumin, coriander, and fennel tea. Okay, so that one would work. So very good information. I work for a gastroenterologist. We'll use my experience at work. Nice, cool. It's really cool, actually, when we see different Ayurvedic health counselors, practitioners, digestive specialists like myself, and see those gastroenterologists at work and see other people in different gut health, but from a Western standpoint, it's so interesting and it's so neat, and we all bring really interesting concepts to the table, right? And so we can kind of pick from all of them and find what works for us, right? And it's all about that experience and how you experience it, right? So that's awesome. Cool. Very cool. Definitely. Okay. So there'll be lots more to learn about all of that, about our digestive system, about the qualities of our digestive system, the qualities of ourselves. But for now, I guess I can bid you adieu. And of course, ask questions. Always. You can ask questions in the Teachable app too, if you want to do that. I know that we're a smaller group, and so probably asking questions on the Facebook group will be just fine too, on the Facebook group chat. So either way, I'll check into Teachable, and I'll definitely be checking in daily into our Facebook group chat. Cool. Alrighty. Well, that's it. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna pause this record or stop the